Millions of years ago, humans existed on Earth, but they could not speak. There were no words, no sentences, no language. Early humans lived in forests. To communicate, they used hand gestures, facial expressions, and cries of fear. If there was danger, they screamed. If they spotted prey, they pointed, but they could not express their thoughts. Time passed. The human body began to change. They started walking upright. Their brains began to grow. And gradually, their throats began to change as well. That transformation slowly turned sounds into words. Today, more than 7,000 languages are spoken around the world. In a country like the United States alone, you can hear hundreds of languages. English, Spanish, French, native tribal languages all on the same land. But the question is, if humans once produced only simple sounds, how did thousands of languages emerge? The story begins at a time when humans were not yet fully human. About 4 million years ago, our ancestors lived in the dense forests of East Africa. They did not look like us, but they had begun walking on two legs. They had strength. They had groups. They had families. But they did not have language. The problem was not the brain. The problem was the structure of their throat. The human voice box was positioned higher in the throat, just like it still is in chimpanzees today. There was an advantage to this. They could drink water and breathe at the same time. But there was also a disadvantage. They could not produce clear sounds. Their throat was like a closed cage. Words were trapped inside it. Then one day, nature changed the game. The climate of Africa shifted. Forests began to disappear. They were replaced by vast grasslands. Gestures worked in trees, but in tall grass, gestures could not be seen. Imagine this. A human stands in tall grass. On the other side, a lion slowly approaches his companion. He wants to warn him, but he cannot speak. Only a scream. And a scream is not always enough. In that moment, survival created the need for language. About 1.8 million years ago, a human species known as Homo erectus learned to control fire. Fire was not just warmth. Fire gave humans time. Cooked food was softer. It was easier to digest. It provided more energy. That extra energy reached the brain. The brain began to grow. For the first time, humans could sit on the ground at night and see each other's faces. This was the moment when the foundation of language was laid. Scientists believe that language did not begin with words, but with musical sounds. Sitting in groups, people made humming sounds like hum or oh. These sounds reduced fear. They created the feeling that we are not alone. This was humanity's first language, the language of emotion. Around 300,000 years ago, another major change occurred. The human voice box shifted downward. Now humans could produce clearer sounds, but this came with a risk. The breathing and food passages moved closer together. Humans could speak, but they could also choke. Nature demanded a price, but in return, it gave language. Then about 70,000 years ago, connections between neurons in the brain increased. Humans could now do more than just see. They could think, compare, and plan. This was the moment sentences were born. With sentences came planning, and with planning came civilization. Humans then began leaving Africa. Some moved north, toward the cold lands of Europe. Some moved east, toward Iran, India, and Asia. And thousands of years later, some crossed the Bering Land Bridge into North America. The ancient Native American tribes, Cherokee, Navajo, Sioux, their languages are the result of that early human migration. Languages developed differently in cold climates and differently in warm regions. Climate shapes sound. That is why English often feels tighter and formed within closed lips, while many South Asian languages sound more open and melodic. Spanish came to America from Europe. English came from Britain. French reached Canada. Languages kept traveling, and every journey changed them. 5,000 years ago, people in Mesopotamia began writing for the first time. Not poetry, but accounting records. Egypt carved writings into stone. China wrote on bones. Later, in the Americas, the Maya civilization developed its own script. Every civilization found its own way to preserve language. In India, writing declined for a period, but knowledge did not disappear. It survived through oral tradition. The Vedas were memorized and passed down through generations. Later, Panini developed a complete system of grammar. It was a masterpiece of human intelligence. Today, America is a living example of how languages blend. In New York, you can walk down one street and hear English, Spanish, Chinese, Arabic, and Hindi. Language is not just a tool for speaking. It is history. It is migration. It is culture. Every language is the story of a journey. So the question is not how language was born. The question is where we are taking it next. Because language is the power that carried humanity from animal instinct to civilization. If you enjoy deep, research-based documentaries like this, subscribe to the channel. Because here, we don't just tell history. We uncover the secrets behind it.